Yo, 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 motherfuckers. What is poppin'? What is poppin', everybody? I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to go on Stereo app. I've been wanting to try this and see if this is something that I could do at the same time with stereo. I don't know if anybody's using stereo, but I'm on there too. Of course, Mike from Detroit. This thing's not working. Hold on. Just waiting for you motherfuckers to show up. I'll do comedy. All right. Boom. I don't want to talk with someone, though. Instead of open talk. Anyways, any of you motherfuckers out there? I know I saw fucking Hercules pop up thinking that the show was earlier. My computer was actually stuck. My computer was actually stuck. Let me see if this actually works. I have no idea what's going on with this story. My computer was stuck in Eastern time, so it literally thought that I was going to be broadcasting earlier. So some of you might have gotten the notice earlier. So let me get this podcast started. These are the things that I kind of want to talk about today. So to break it down, aliens are here. And it seems like no one fucking cares. I'd like to... I know a lot of people... There's a lot of people like, oh, man, you want to talk about fucking Israel again? I'm sorry, but the fucking... The bullshit lies and the fear to say what's right is just nauseating. And I can't help it. I have to point it out. I've always been like that. I don't care what the topic is. I'm not afraid to talk about it. But yeah, we definitely need to talk about how some people, especially celebrities, are now being called anti-Semitic because they care about a bunch of poor Arabs that have no military to protect themselves. So, we're definitely going to talk about that shit. And then we're going to talk about how I met God in Bali. And she is beautiful. Let's get this thing started.
Public Yemeni #1.
All right. So, I hope you motherfuckers can hear me. The last thing I want is another technical problem. So let's get this freaking thing started. Aliens are here. And I am blown away by the fact that none of us really care about it. I would have thought that after all these things that came out, people would actually really be fascinated. The fact that we have these crafts flying around, especially around San Diego, which makes some people think maybe it's a military thing. You know? The fact that the Navy is confused and declassified these videos is interesting. So it's like, does the government have another faction that allows them to fucking create technology like this to where the Navy doesn't even know? Probably. What if it's fucking China? Probably. The fact that the new video that came out with the alien dropping down into the water, that is the thing that the latest video that came out where the guy who's watching it, the pilot, says splash, splash. So it went in the water. So now there's like these ideas that what if these aliens are intrastellar? Meaning, what if they're from this planet? What if these aliens have been here this whole fucking time and they're not aliens? What if they are a very advanced civilization that lives deep in the center of the earth? Some people have thought that. There's even stupid conspiracy theories. Maybe it's not even stupid anymore. There's conspiracy theories out there right now that purport, that have been out there for a while. I remember hearing that Hitler lives in the center of the earth. What? Like, I mean, listen, there's a lot of fucking stupid conspiracies, but now I'm starting to get to a point where, are these conspiracies stupid? Because I think the biggest stupid conspiracy theory, not stupid, but like the type of conspiracy theory that people will point to and be like, yo, man, this is fucking stupid, is aliens. That's typically like on the top of the list of the conspiracy theories that people will fucking point to that says, come on, man, you're crazy. And now, out of all the conspiracy theories that could be nutty, the one that is on the top of that fucking list is starting to come true. So what the fuck? I mean, I remember after 9/11, I went down like an internet rabbit hole to try to find out the truth. And you would find stuff out there that seemed pragmatic, that would question certain things, that made you look at the 9/11 attack and be like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Yet at the same time, I remember seeing this picture that somebody posted and said the aliens did 9/11 and that they saw a hovering craft, like a tic-tac type hovering craft around the buildings. I remember when I saw that, I was like, get the fuck out of here. That's not the type of fucking information I'm looking for. I'm looking for real information, you know? Something that can at least tie something to reality where I can go, wait a minute, this is not right. And let's investigate further. Aliens? Go fuck yourself. That's it. I'm going to the next website that will hopefully give me some real good information, because I'm not aliens, no. But now, what the fuck? And let's face it, if the aliens are here, I would think that they would definitely want to watch us, because we're fucking crazy. There have been reports of like aliens popping up and tearing up cattle and fucking with people. And what if that's God? I know that's not something anyone wants to think of, but what if God is an alien that likes to come down and fuck with us? Maybe that's where the Bible and Quran came out of. Because listen, when I read the Bible, especially the Bible, the Quran came out like about 600 years after the Bible. So yeah, the Quran's got some things in there that you're just like, what? But it's not as wacky as the Bible. The Bible came out 600 years before. Think about how much more savage and less scientific human beings were 600 years ago, right? But you read the Bible, the Old Testament is basically, the first thing that the Jews wrote. And my God, is God I hate to say it, a dick. He's a dick, prankster dick. He was just doing nonstop fucking with people, And then the New Testament came out and it was like, yo, God has a son now. And now he's chill. Now he's got his dad bod. He's not angry anymore. He don't have the energy to fuck with humans anymore. Instead, he's going to bring his son down to Earth, do some magical shit, and then he's going to have him crucified. What? I honestly don't understand any of this shit, but I'm starting to wonder now. Like in Islam, we think that God is merciful and compassionate, right? But he'll still fuck you up. I don't know. I think the merciful and compassionate part might be just something we made up. Or not. I don't know. Maybe these aliens are just a part of the universe. But imagine if they were from the center of the earth. Now that's where a lot of people think these motherfuckers came from. They came from the center of the earth. I mean, you know. So I wanted to see if I find that video, if you guys saw the Tic Tac video, especially the latest one. It was much closer. And I don't know if you know this, but I think June, here I have the date here somewhere. June, when is it? It's right around June 15th of this year, 2021. The CIA is going to release an entire vault of documents that they've accumulated about UFOs, because in the last COVID bill, one of the senators slipped into the bill that the government has to release all information of anything to do with aliens. And I'm looking forward to that shit. 2,780 pages of documents have already been released. And we got even more coming out. So these videos now are just popping off. And as you can see, it's just like a little Tic Tac in the middle of the screen. And these videos suck for us laymen. Because you look at it and you don't understand exactly what's happening. But what was amazing was Commander Fravor, the pilot that was flying this airplane, following this UFO, could not talk about it until it was released and declassified. And I remember hearing him on Rogan describing how that thing maneuvered. And apparently it did maneuvers that no technology known to humans right now is capable of doing. Like it was able to go something like 50 to 60,000 feet above sea level and then appear 1 foot above sea level in a second. In a second. Now, Bob Lazar, if you guys haven't seen the documentary yet, Bob Lazar is, I believe he's a scientist. I forget what type of science he's into. But he was hired by Area 51, he called it S4, to reverse engineer the gravity propulsion systems that apparently they have recovered off of some alien shipwrecks. When he described this gravity propulsion system to Rogan, it was kind of crazy, because he basically said that when he worked on this ship, it had 3 prongs on it. And he said that they believed the 3 prongs would come together. And these 3 prongs were able to bend space-time. You know, because if you don't know that, so it could bend space-time, meaning that it could fold space-time so they can travel to another part of the universe in a split second. So the way he explained it was, instead of the ship going to Earth, these prongs will be facing Earth. It will bend space-time and bring Earth to the ship. What the fuck? But what's crazy is that, like, a lot of these things that we're told is crazy actually turns out to be real, right? So, for example, let's take it back to Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, through his equations and his genius freaking brain, theorized with math that time is a fabric and that it can be bent with gravity. And he believed that there around the Earth's atmosphere, because Earth is such a giant mass, and as we know, giant forms of mass have a gravitational pull. If so, he believed through his math that gravity was able to bend space-time. So I think the math equation was to pinpoint the bend in space-time around the globe. Meaning, if time is a fabric and it gets closer to, let's say this is the planet right here, this microphone. The closer time gets to the planet, because it has a gravitational pull, it will bend space-time. It will bend time. Meaning that around the planet Earth, there's a curvature in space-time because of gravity. The idea is that gravity can bend time. Another way that I read it was through Brian Greene's novel, is that imagine you had four people taking a bed sheet and they holded it tight. So they pulled on all four corners. So this bed sheet was now just hovering over the floor and it was tight. Imagine that is time. Time is a fabric. Then you take a bowling ball and you drop a bowling ball in the middle of that bed sheet. No matter how hard the people on the four corners hold it tight, that bowling ball is going to bend the bed sheet. Now that is how Einstein believed what Earth was doing to time around our planet. Now, no one could run any experiments on that equation that Einstein came up with. Then, after his death, we have come across technology that I don't understand it, but they were able to pinpoint that he was right, that there is a curvature in space-time. He was so correct in his equations that right now GPS uses that equation to pinpoint us on the planet. Without that equation, without us knowing that there's a curvature in space-time, there's no way our GPS would be able to find us accurately without that equation, without calculating the curvature in space-time in order for the satellite, which resides outside that curvature, to accurately pinpoint us on this planet. It's fucking fascinating, right? So you go back to Einstein and you realize, holy shit, time is a fabric and it can be bent with gravity. Then lo and behold, aliens show up. Area 51 is created. Bob Lazar is working over there. Realizes he kind of wants to tell the world what's going on. He even said that there was a new element that they found. Element 151, something that's not from this planet. So like, I think in the 80s, he left and he just told everybody, yo, this is what's up. And the CIA fucked with him hard. Of course, as they usually do. They don't like it when you go around telling people the secrets that you were supposed to keep. And nobody believed them until just recently. Now all this stuff is being declassified. Now we're starting to see ships traveling that seem to be able to bend space-time to travel, because these things are appearing in other parts of our three-dimensional world in an instant. So, I don't know. To me, what's fascinating, nobody gives a fuck. It's hilarious. Nobody gives a flying fuck. I would have thought that when aliens came, people would be just like, yo, this is all we can fucking talk about. But nope, aliens came and everyone's like, mask or no mask, bitch. I don't get it. I don't. Let's keep this thing moving. This aliens thing is fascinating to me, though. It really is. It's fascinating as fuck. Because, I don't know. I don't even know if this stereo app thing is working right now. I don't think it works when I'm plugged into the computer. I'll find out later. But we shall find out. Oh, you know what? While I'm on aliens, I do want to... Let me share the screen of my phone. And what I want to do... What I want to do is I want to show you guys. I came across this guy last night. So I'm under the impression now that there are a lot more I'm really under the impression there is a lot more people that are doing this right now. Oh, dude, I think I fucked up. I'm sorry, guys. Do I gotta... Sorry. Kind of wanted to get my stupid face up, but forget it. Check this out. This thing trips me the hell out. This guy's been posting nonstop. Now, this guy's TikTok purports that he is in an alternate universe. He's basically saying that he woke up one morning in a hospital, and when he woke up, he realized that he is now in 2027, and he's living in a world where there are no people anywhere. Now watch some of these videos. And the thing is he's posting daily. Now, I don't understand how this works in terms of time. Look, there's nobody. So people are asking him to go to these places that are real and to show us that he is in an alternate universe where all the people have disappeared. So I guess now he's in some like movie studio, and he's been doing things like this where he says that he asks people to place things, or I think it's the opposite way. He places things, and that other people will, on TikTok, will go back to these areas and find the things that he's placed, or it's vice versa. People will place things. Now look at this. This is supposed to be Madrid, and this is an area that is extremely packed with people. And for some reason, this motherfucker is able to walk around and there's nobody in the booth. Like, what did he do? Did he go to these areas and tell everyone, hey, get the fuck out of here, I'm doing a TikTok video, ha ha ha? There's no way. Or this guy's an amazing editor. Or there's a filter out there that we don't know about that's able to just filter out all the people. But I just think this is crazy. This is him driving down the road. Another thing a bunch of people say is if you pay attention, you won't see birds flying. Yeah. Nothing. Now, in this video here, I have to admit that sky looks fake. I don't know. Or maybe it's just I want to think it's fake. So, I don't know. And I don't speak French. A lot of everything he writes is in French. And there's a lot of people, in Spanish, and there's a lot of people in Spain who are literally requesting him to go to certain places. Places that would otherwise be full of people. Firehouses. He's literally, I don't know. I just found this to be fascinating. And just before I started this podcast, I did do a little research, and I think there's somebody else that's doing this shit. I think there is another person.
Y por fin encuentro una relación con los apuntes del refugio.
that's doing the same type of shit. But it's pretty cool. The idea is that he is in an alternate universe. I don't know if you guys can hear. I know Target is like Twilight Zone shit. Can you hear the audio, by the way? Because I'm not hearing the audio from the TikTok. I don't know. So his idea is that he's in an alternate universe, a parallel universe. A universe where... I gotta turn that off. A universe where it's parallel to ours and there's people missing. If you get a chance, check him out. It's Unico. Jesus, he needs a better handle. I always tell people, man, come with a handle that's so easy. Listen, I'm not even... Oh, so you guys do hear that. Interesting. I don't hear that. Well, there's that. That, I thought, since we were on the topic of aliens, it's definitely a thing. So, next thing I'd like to talk about is the thing that makes people want to leave the fucking room when you talk about this shit, and it's really fucked up that it is this way. Fucking Palestine, you know? Last night, I made a point to do a pro-Palestine joke, a couple actually, in Hollywood, at the Improv open mic. A place where if you were to say the word Palestine, the air leaves the room, right? There's a lot of people in Hollywood, they have this idea where it's like, well, you can't talk about that because you'll never work again in this city. And that's probably true, you know? But to me, I got into comedy because I like the truth. I like to fucking just spit the truth and find out the truth. That's my jam, you know? And I don't know. It's like I have people telling me to not do that. And what really bothers me is how the only person that really came to me and told me not to do that was an Arab that I know. Actually made a phone call telling me, hey, what are you doing? You should probably stop doing that. You know? No one wants to hear that shit. It's probably not good for your career. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. It's probably not good for my career, but man, it's good for my soul. It's good for my soul to know that I'm like actually pointing things out. You know? To me, what's amazing is how saying Palestine or free Palestine is a terrible thing. Something you're not supposed to say. What the fuck is that? I don't know. Let me show you a screen right here. If anybody doesn't know, Bella Hadid is a Palestinian. And she's been very pro-Palestinian recently. And that makes me happy. And Israel has a Twitter account. And because she was at a pro-Palestine rally, she's now anti-Semitic. She's Palestinian. She's at a pro-Palestine rally. And now she is an anti-Semite. This is what is fucking crazy to me, is how easy it is for our media to brainwash our people into believing it is so fucking cool to help Asians, black people right now. When it comes to minorities, that's the safe thing to talk about right now when it comes to minorities. Stop Asian hate. Black Lives Matter. I'm all for those. 100%. behind anything that's going to speak against hatred and racism. But if you pay attention, right now, those are the easy things to talk about. Asian hate, Black Lives Matter. But you want to protect a bunch of poor Arabs that have no military to protect themselves? Psh, you hate Jews now. Congratulations. Congratulations. You can't protect those people. So what the fuck? Are we Nazi Germany right now? Is saying free Palestine equivalent to hiding Jews during the Holocaust? Like, you can't do that. You're not supposed to protect Jewish people back then? Now, shame on you for just saying free Palestine. Another thing that Israel likes to spin is the from land to sea, Palestine will be free, I believe is the term that Palestinians say. Basically meaning this entire land will be free. But you know what Zionists like to use that term for? They like to say, oh, that means the Arabs are going to throw us into the sea. You can even see it right here. When celebrities like Bella Hadid advocate for throwing Jews into the sea, they are advocating for the elimination of the Jewish state. That's what it says on their Twitter. Then it goes, this shouldn't be an Israeli-Palestinian issue. This should be a human issue. Shame on you. Mind you, this is coming from the Israel government Twitter page. This shouldn't be an Israeli-Palestinian issue. This should be a human issue. This is coming from a state that is keeping 5 million people in a fucking prison. 2 million of them inside a tiny little area called Gaza, the most densely populated area on planet Earth. And then they have the audacity to try to blow up a terrorist in this tiny fucking place. And then they blame the terrorist for hiding themselves amongst civilians. It's like, bitch, they're all civilians. There's no military in Gaza. That's a militia comprised of the civilians trying to make things better for themselves because you keep bombarding them with bombs that they don't have. They don't have the type of might and missile that Israel has. That's like me stuffing 5 people into a phone booth. One of them is a criminal. And I go to shoot that criminal in this packed phone booth. I hit him and then I hit some other people in that phone booth. Then I blame him for being in that fucking phone booth. Why were you there? Why were you there crammed around all these fucking people? Why are you so close to people? Oh, it's because I got you packed in there like sardines. But nope. That's not the case. It has to be something else. It has to be your fault, Hamas. It has to be your fault. It's not my fault that I cut off your electricity, that the majority of your water is undrinkable, that you live in a prison packed like sardines, and then I'm going to use the media to tell the world you're the asshole launching bombs into Israel while you're next to civilians. It's like, bitch, it's the most densely populated place in fucking Earth. Anyways. Now, what's funny is that when you go on this tweet, and it really, really tripped me out last night, because I was just like, okay. Everyone replying underneath is hating on Israel. Everyone is making sure that Israel understands that they are a shithead. And they are. They are. I know it's not popular to talk about, but that shit needs to be talked about. It really does. And there's a lot of racism in Israel. I've experienced it. Going there, I've experienced it meeting Israelis while I was out and about. Like one time I was in Thailand. A lot of Israelis like to travel in Thailand because it's one of the places in Southeast Asia that allows them to travel there. Places like Indonesia will not allow Israelis to travel there. If you have an Israeli stamp on your passport, you're not allowed to travel to Indonesia. And Indonesia is there's more Muslims in Indonesia than any part of the world. I mean, the majority of the Muslims live in Indonesia, and it's a very Muslim country. And, they show solidarity to the Palestinians by not allowing Israelis to travel there. I think Malaysia does the same thing. But Thailand is a beautiful place. You should definitely travel there. And a lot of Israelis like to travel there because they can. And one time I was in the north and I got hit on by a Yemeni Israeli girl. Now, I met other Israeli girls out there. They would hit on me. They would ask if I was Jewish because they would, like Israeli girls like American Jewish men from America. Like anything, you always find something exotic that's not from your country or whatever, right? Because like we hear Australian accents here and we're like, wow, your accent's amazing. I go out to Australia and I get that. I get girls hitting on me going, I just love the way you talk. And I mean, that's just what it is. So I would actually get hit on by Israeli girls in Thailand, and it would all fall apart as soon as they found out I was Arab or Muslim. So they would assume I was Israeli or American Jew. Really, really into me. Soon as I drop that I'm Arab or Muslim, they disperse. They walk away. Terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible to think that that's all it takes for someone to hate you. And then they have no problem just dropping you like a bad habit, like you don't exist. Yeah. So I ended up meeting this Yemeni girl. I saw her looking at me across from the club, and then and this was in, now I'm wondering if this might be Cambodia. No, this was Thailand. Came out of the club, and you could tell she was hanging out with a bunch of other Israelis, and all her Israeli friends were white. And it's pretty interesting. You can see in her body language, she was really showing up for the white people, right? You see that here in America, too. You see certain minorities that have a lot of white friends, and then they just trying to. And like in Israel, man, there's a lot of hatred in Israel. And that's not to say that these, other people hated her. They're probably really good friends with her, whatever. Point is, she saw me. She hit on me right away. We started talking. And this time, I tried something different. Instead of telling her that I was Muslim or Arab, and here's the thing. Israelis are very paranoid about who they come across. And the way I look at it is like, yeah, I guess you have to be paranoid who you come across, especially when you are actively stealing people's homes, right? So one thing I say is no matter where you meet an Israeli, if you have my face, no matter where you meet an Israeli, wherever you're traveling, where you meet them, now that spot has become a checkpoint. Where are you from? Where are you born? I did a German accent, but it's kind of the same, right? It's kind of the same. Where are your papers? That's what they do. Where are you from? What is your grandfather's name? That's another one. What's your grandfather's name? The Nazis used to ask that to the Jews. What is your grandfather's name? It was a way for them to track down if you're someone they should kill or not. It's pretty interesting. What is your grandfather's name? So she was hitting me up with the checkpoint questions. Where are you from? And what I played was, I don't know, I'm adopted. That's the trick I played. I don't know, I'm adopted is what I told her. And then you know what happens is when you meet people who are Israelis or like staunch Jews, a lot of them want to be like, oh, you're Jewish. Yo, you're probably Jewish. So that's how she was playing. You're probably Jewish. I can tell. Blah, 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 this and that. So I had this really cute Jewish Yemeni girl in the palm of my hands. So after the club, I went with her and her friends, and we went out to go grab some food. Her and her friends were talking. Me and her were talking to each other, getting to know each other. And after she realizes that maybe I'm not Arab, all of a sudden the racism starts coming out. I started asking her questions about living in Israel, and it didn't take that long. And then she's like, everything is fine except for the Arabs. The Arabs are always just... And I'm like, wait a second, aren't you Arab? You're from Yemen. And she had some mental gymnastic answer. Oh, when I mean Arab, I'm talking about a specific type of people. What type of people? The Arabs. That's just what we say, the Arabs. I'm like, you don't like Arabs? Well, and here's this brown Yemeni girl who happens to be Jewish. Brainwashed into hating people who are much closer to her in blood than her 5 white friends. What the fuck? So I started noticing this racism from her, and I just played it off the whole time and whatever. And I remember we were like walking back after the food, and we were going to grab a tuk-tuk. A tuk-tuk are these little motorcycles with like that you could sit in the back, and a lot of these Thai people that would drive you around will design them really nice with lights and stuff like that. So they're called tuk-tuks. It's basically a taxi, a Thai taxi. There's a bunch of tuk-tuks over there, and her friends climbed in one. Actually, I called the tuk-tuk. I was a gentleman. I called the tuk-tuk over. He came over. Like, these ladies want to go back. You can tell the Yemeni girl was literally like, hey, am I going in your tuk-tuk? What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. And, I'm sorry. It's just like that level of racism made me I didn't want anything to do with this fucking bitch, even though she was fucking hot. And I let her and all her friends go in the tuk-tuk, and I wanted to say it, but I didn't. I wanted to, but I didn't at that time. We said our goodbyes. I said goodbye to her friends. I call my tuk-tuk over. I go over to my tuk-tuk. That tuk-tuk is about to leave. I walk up to the other tuk-tuk really quick before they leave. I tap the guy on the shoulder. I lean into the cabin, and I look at the girls, and I go, every single one of you are racists. By the way, I'm Yemeni, and I'm a Muslim. I just wanted to let you know, you are terrible people. And I tapped the tuk-tuk driver, and he took off, and that Yemeni girl, as they were driving off, she's like, yeah, but I'm Yemeni too. No, bitch, you're a racist. You're a fucking racist. You're a fucking piece of shit. All right. With that being said, I want to show you a video. That really bothers me showing this. And it's Israelis in the streets being interviewed, saying some terrible things about how they feel about Arabs. So in the spirit of that piece of shit Yemeni racist Zionist, let's watch this.
It will be much better Not to kill them, just to go back to Arab countries.
But it's really rightfully ours if you look at the history and at like the wars, and we didn't even start a lot of the wars. And we conquered these places rightfully, like it's ours.
1,400 years later, we come back. Now, I'm not saying that we can blame the people living here for what happened, but you gotta accept that that's some kind of divine justice, that their great-great-great-great-grandfathers kicked my great-great-great-grandfather out of here, and then we come back, and all of a sudden they're like, well, no, we don't want it, it's not fair.
I think that the Jews came here, they took this land, and this is our land now, and I don't think there should be here no Arabs. Like Arabs, they won, we gave them Gaza, they should go live there quietly. If they want, they should go back to Iraq, I don't know, to wherever they want.
I'm seeing that we need to... איך אומרים להעיף את הערבים? כן, תגידי לי.
She's saying kick out the Arabs. She's asking.
I don't think there's any answer to it.
Really?
There's only one way, like, I would carpet bomb them.
You would carpet bomb them?
It's the only way you could deal with it. Like, or try to stop them a different way. It never worked.
I think that we're miserable. The Arabs make a פיגועים and we need to kill Arabs. No.
I think another thing that the Jews should have rights to hate them. I think we have the right to hate them. I don't see a reason why not. I wouldn't trust any of them.
אין מצב שיהיה פה שלום בארץ, אי אפשר לעשות איתם שלום, הם תמיד
There's no
שונאים
chance of
אותנו.
peace with them.
אם אי אפשר לעשות שלום והמצב ככה לא יכול להישאר, אז צריך
You
לטפל
can't have
בהם
peace.
בדרכים אחרות, אין מה לעשות.
I think we should give them a country. If you're doing any problem, you just go in there to give them a country, and then it's going to be a war between countries, you know? If they're going to throw rockets, we're going to throw one big one and done.
Dark. Very fucking dark. Now hear me out. I don't usually like those type of videos. You want to know why? Because how many Israelis did she talk to that did not say that? Right? Let's be honest. I like to be honest here. I watched that video. It makes me mad to hear people say that. If you just joined in, I was talking about how an Israeli girl told me that she hated Arabs after I told her I didn't know what I was. I was adopted. The Israeli Yemeni girl started just spewing off about Arabs are terrible. And I'm just like, bitch, you're an Arab. I don't understand this whole hatred towards Arabs, but you're an Israeli and you're an Arab. So that's why I showed that video, you know. But take it with a grain of salt. Because honestly, you can't allow those videos like that to inform you of the entire group of people. That's just not fair. But what you need to know is that there are people there that are like this. And we are protecting them by allowing them to claim we're anti-Semitic for just saying free Palestine. Before I end this segment, I kind of want to, so like Mark Ruffalo, afraid of cancellation, begs forgiveness after suggesting Israel's carrying out genocide against Palestinians. Mark Ruffalo has been very, very, very on the side of the Palestinians, and he's been very vocal. You can tell he really feels for them, and he wants to speak from his heart. But the system will not let you speak from the heart when it comes to the Palestinians. So, afraid of being canceled, he's like, sorry. Swedish pop star Zara Larsson labeled anti-Semite after calling Israel an apartheid state and asking them to stop killing Palestinians. So it's like very interesting how this is. Another thing I wanted to show you, which I thought was really, really sad, and it bothers me. In two ways, because one is this Holocaust survivor. Let me see if I can get my camera in here, guys, because for some reason I'm not able to get my stupid face on this. Ugh. Sorry. Just wanted to do this right. Oh, no. am I going to have to fucking do? I'm sorry, guys. This is like, I keep telling you I'm going to figure this app out. And then I don't. Let me see here. All right. Well, okay. Well, that's good to know that the camera still fucking works. I'm sorry. And you know what? Forget my stupid face. Let's just cut to the thing. So this poor, I have so many feelings about this thing, okay? This Holocaust survivor, she's 97 years old, okay? She has a TikTok where she talks about her, she takes questions about her time in the Holocaust. Like, I feel so bad for her, okay? Because she ended up getting all this hatred, all this fucking hatred. And it's just not right, you know? Like, she ended up getting, like, people saying terrible things to her. Now, here's the thing that I want to point out, okay? Here's the thing that I want to point out. Pay attention to how this article tries to coerce you. It's really fucking sinister how this fucking thing is written, okay? So it's about this Holocaust woman, this Holocaust survivor. She's on TikTok now. She's creating, asking questions, taking questions about her time in the Holocaust. And then people start, of course, being anti-Semitic towards her, being anti-Jewish towards her, like treating her like shit and asking her things specifically to hurt her, okay? Like, can you ask her, did Israel exist when she moved out of Germany? Okay. Now, what's funny is that offensive? Is it? Yes and no. There's a part of me that's like, no, because it's just a question. But then another part of me is like, bitch, I know what the fuck you're doing. I know what you're doing. Ask her if she thinks the treatment of the Palestinians remind her of the treatment she got in the camp. That hurts me. Yet at the same time, it's kind of a valid question. Ask her if she thinks the treatment of the Palestinians remind her of the treatment she got in the camp. Now, mind you, this article is written in a way to be like, these are completely repulsive. Now, here's the thing. It's repulsive because people did come out to try to say some terrible things. In the context of what this guy is writing here and saying that, can you ask her, did Israel exist when she moved out of Germany? Now, is that a real horrible question? Why is it offensive? Because it's going to remind people of the Jewish faith that they're just going to do onto the Palestinians what Hitler done onto them. That's not controversial to say. But you can tell in the context, people are just trying to hurt her. And that's fucked up. What would be more amazing is if there was a way to have a discussion with her about Palestine without these feelings of, oh, you're offending me. Because it's funny. It's like you have to walk on eggshells when you talk about this stuff. And I think we need to stop doing that. But, and I feel so bad for her. This one is so offensive. Other comments include Happy Holocaust. That's fucking terrible. And then in the same sentence, Free Palestine. That's where I fucking have a problem. Right there. What's wrong with a Free Palestine? Why is this article trying to manipulate you? And listen, there's a bunch of articles out there like this. This is just the one that I latched onto. These are the type of things that people are reading. And that's why you're seeing so much hatred towards Palestinians, or not hatred, people who want to say things about Palestine, like Mark. And instead, being told that they are anti-Semite. Here it is. Other comments include Happy Holocaust and free Palestine. This pisses me the fuck off. This is a fucking trick that they're playing. This is fucking bullshit. Happy Holocaust? Terrible. Free Palestine? Also terrible? Go fuck yourself. This is the type of fucking manipulation these motherfuckers are playing with us. And this is why when I do a joke about Palestine in Hollywood, I get off stage, my comedian friends literally look at me like I'm a dead man. Like you just ended your entire fucking career. Black Lives Matter? Cool. Poor Arabs without a military to protect themselves? You hate Jews now. Now, I feel so bad for this lady. What I also feel bad is that her going through this is not being used as a way to bring people together. Instead, it's being used to manipulate us into thinking that Palestinians get what they deserve. And that's not the fucking case. Anyways. Damn, it's a long podcast. I was really hoping to get this podcast done in under an hour, but I got one more thing. I can't just be ending on fucking Palestine. It's depressing. It's depressing to me because I feel like I'm in a simulation, and the simulation is simulated to hate Arabs. I'm sure black people feel like that. Oh my God, especially in America. To me, it's like, how can we get what we are now starting to realize that we need to do for black people in this country, and why can't we transfer that to other people? Why do we have to be fucking manipulated into believing sticking up for Palestinians means you hate Jews? Anyways, I'm going to move on to the next thing. How I met God. Guys, I met God, and she is fucking beautiful. Some of you are probably going to laugh at this. Oh, you met God? Yeah, I did it with mushrooms. Okay? I did it with fucking mushrooms, as everyone should. And I've done mushrooms many times before, but I've never had an experience like this, and this experience actually changed my life, and it's kind of fucking weird and just out of this world. Let me see if I can try to break it down to you. So in 2014, I go down to Bali, Indonesia for a vacation, and two of my friends from Dearborn, Michigan, Sean McGettigan and Mike McGettigan, two guys that I created the Ed and Moe Show with, which is a web series. You should check it out. It's called the Ed and Moe Show. If you're seeing this, you can, on my page, you can watch Ed and Moe Show. It's funny. We had a good time making it. So we went out to Bali. I speak the language. I speak Indonesian. Not that great, but I can speak it enough because both my parents, even though they were Yemeni, they were born in Indonesia. And if you guys don't know, Yemenis from Hadramaut, Hadrami Yemenis, have been living in Indonesia before Islam. Because the part of Yemen that we come from is very arid and rough, and you can't grow anything. It's very harsh. It's harsh living on that part of Yemen. So for the longest time, the Yemenis in that area have been seafarers. They built ships, they got the fuck out of there, and they have been seafarers traveling all along the Indian Ocean and Southeast Asia trading. So they were, kind of like the Marco Polos of the Yemenis. And the Hadramis always had a very specific type of tradition. They were kind of like Jewish people, right? Where Jews are very, very strict in terms of who they marry, right? Like Jews, they only try to marry other Jews. The other hack that Jews have is like, oh, if the mother's the Jew, well, it's a Jew. With Hadramis, they only allowed you to marry other Hadrami Yemenis. So even though the Yemenis were living all along Southeast Asia before Islam, they were only allowed to marry other Yemenis who are Hadrami. It was kind of looked at as like we are like, oh, such great. I think that's how it was. It's like, oh, we're so great. We're the Yemenis. We're the travelers. We're the worldly ones. We're the educated ones. We're the movers and shakers. When I meet other Yemenis, they know that I'm from Hadramaut. They right away go, let me guess, your family's educated. Like I met this one guy, he wasn't even Yemeni. When he found out I was Hadrami, he goes, let me guess, your family's educated. They're all in business, and the majority of them reside in Asia. And he blew my fucking mind. I was like, what the fuck? So long story short, my family has been in Indonesia for over 100 years. So my mom and dad were both born there. So I don't even speak Arabic. I speak Indonesian, which is, I know, it's really fucked up. 2014, we're in Indonesia. Convinced 2 of my fucking white friends from Dearborn, Michigan to come out with me. We had a fucking blast. If you are ever with me in Indonesia, you're going to have so much fun because I've been going to Bali since I was 5 years old. Outside of Bali is a tiny little island called Gili T. Gili Trawangan. That's the real name. Gili Trawangan. No one's saying Trawangan. No one wants to say Trawangan. So they just call it Gili T for white people. So Gili Trawangan is this really tiny little island just outside of Bali, and it's very, very small, about 7 kilometers in diameter, I believe. It's so small that there are no cars on this island. Everything has to be horse-driven or electric motor scooter. When I was there were no paved roads. It's so island as fuck. The history of Gili T, mind you, is crazy. The island next to Gili T, this giant island called Lombok. Lombok is Indonesia's Australia. It's where they've thrown all their criminals throughout history, okay? Well, it's really funny. So you go to Bali, the people are really nice and sweet and compassionate, and everyone's laughing and fun. And you just take 1 hour boat ride from Bali to the island of Lombok, and everyone's shady and trying to get one over on you, and it's stark. You could tell the difference in people just from crossing the island. So anyways, the island of Lombok, they had their own prison island. And their prison island was Gili Trawangan. So the people that reside in this tiny little island, Gili Trawangan, were the descendants of criminals. So basically, Indonesia sent their criminals to Lombok. And then Lombok was like, man, fuck these people and they sent them to Gili T. So Gili T, it's like a place on another planet, okay? It's so small and it's devoted to partying. The whole island is devoted to partying. You go there and it's nothing but shots, drugs, mushrooms, psychedelics, anything you want, you can get in Gili T. There are no fucking cops. Now there might be. I think now they're starting to show up. But when I was there, it was fucking no man's land. Gili T was a no man's land. It's fucking great. So we're on Gili T. And it was going to be a full moon coming up. And if you don't know Southeast Asia, they love doing full moon beach parties. I highly suggest when you get to Southeast Asia anywhere, if there's a full moon beach party, fucking do it. And do mushrooms while you're doing it. I fucking promise you. So, I've done mushrooms a lot. This time I really, really, really wanted to blast off. So, we're in Gili T. I've already known people there. We're sitting down at this restaurant called the Irish Bar in Gili T. And back then, the Irish Bar was right on the fucking beach, but they built it like a real Irish bar. So you're sitting in this open bar that feels like an Irish bar, this mahogany wood, mahogany tables, great bar, but everything is sand. That's how everything in Gili T is. It's so cool. Everything is sand. So basically you're in this Irish bar that's owned by an Irish man who lives on this tiny little island, and it's right on the fucking beach. It's dope. So we're sitting there in this awesome restaurant, and I convinced my friends to fast all day because I wanted to do it like ayahuasca. It's going to fast all day so that when I ate the mushrooms, it hit me really fucking hard. And I told them, I was like, guys, we're going to fast all day. We'll take the mushrooms. About half hour after we take the mushrooms, then we'll actually eat our meal so we can, have some nourishment for the rest of the night. And we'll eat something light like salads. We took them, waited a half an hour, went to the Irish bar, sat down. We all ordered the same fucking salad. When those fucking salads came out, that's when the mushroom kicked in. And mind you, let's rewind 2 hours before this. We're sitting at another restaurant. I pick up my phone and I call some Indonesian kid and tell him, hey, this is how much mushrooms I want. We're sitting there in this restaurant, families all around us. This kid comes up on a bike, throws the bike into the sand, walks up to our table in front of all these families, drops all these mushrooms on our tables. In front of everybody. There's no fucking laws on this island. It's fucking amazing. Drops all these fucking mushrooms on our table. And in Indonesia, in a gili, the way they give you the mushrooms is so island. They take banana leaves, and then they roll the banana leaf into a cone, and then they put a toothpick in there to keep it shaped like a cone, and then that's where they stuff the mushrooms. And the mushrooms are not like how you get them in America where they're freeze-dried. No, these are freshly picked. Like, there's dirt on them still. It's fucking amazing. He drops all these mushrooms on our table in front of families. There's Muslim families next to me, a woman with a hijab. She doesn't give a shit. It's amazing. We open up the mushrooms right there. The waiter walks up to us. The waiter, really quick, runs up to us. Excuse me, sir. I could put that in a salad for you. These fucking people are fun, man. So we told them, no, we're not going to eat these now. We're going to eat them later. So anyways, fast forward to the salads come out. We've already taken mushrooms. We're probably 45 minutes into eating these copious amounts of mushrooms on an empty stomach. So it's really going to fucking hit us. Bro, the salads come out. I remember I looked up. My two friends were sitting in front of me. Like they were sitting across from each other. But when I look up, I can see both of them. All I saw was Sean McGettigan just looking at his bowl of salad and like rubbing his forehead, and he was like really stressed out. And he goes, I don't think I can eat this, man. And then I look at his brother Mike, and his brother Mike looks at me and goes, there's mountains in my bowl. I can't eat mountains. I was like, dude, what the fuck? I looked in my bowl, every little morsel of salad, croutons, tomato, whatever it was, they all had this cartoon face. And I swear to God, when I looked at my bowl, every little morsel of food that had a cartoon face was looking up at me, and they went, no, don't eat us. I was like, what the I've never tripped out that hard in my entire life. I was the only one at the table that was stabbing my fucking food and eating it. I thought it was the funnest salad I've ever had. I only eat salads because they're healthy, because I have to. But this salad here was so fun, bro. I was eating cartoon characters. So we eat the salad. We're done. We go to this beach party. It's an amazing beach party. Right there, full moon. You can see the water. The moon is glistening off the water. You see the silhouettes of all the docked boats in there. Off in the distance, you see the island of Lombok, the one that I was talking about, that prison island, is just massive landmass with peaks of mountains jutting out, and it's being silhouetted by the moon. On the beach are fire dancers, a fire pit, a DJ that plays all the way till 8 o'clock in the fucking morning, a bar that they built in the middle of the beach that serves drinks and mushrooms. I mean, dude, it was a motherfucking party. Now, anybody who takes mushrooms knows it comes in waves. You'll trip, then you'll come back down. And then the next trip will be even more intense, and then you'll come back down. And it's like a roller coaster. And then the next one is a bigger peak, and then you come back down. And then a bigger peak, and then you come back down. That's typically how mushrooms are, okay? So here I am, beach party, Gilly Tea, 2014, tripping my fucking balls off. I'm sitting down next to my friend Sean. He's talking to some guy from France. And my trip is getting so intense that I can't listen to people anymore. I'm now entering the other dimension. And that next peak was coming. This is what trips me the fuck out. I couldn't control it. I remember telling Sean, I'll be right back. And I laid down on the beach because I knew this next wave was coming. And I look up in the sky, and all of a sudden, all of the stars in the sky started coming together and playing connect the dots. And I saw this beautiful woman's face in the sky. It was so beautiful, and it looked like she had wings jutting out of her. And then her face would like morph from a beautiful human face to something more alien or insect-like. And she was made of these tiny little sparkling things. And I remember all I wanted to know was, I want to get closer to those sparkles. I want to know what she's made out of. So I started getting closer to her and closer to her and closer to her. And this is how intense this trip was. I've never tripped like this in my entire life. Mind you, I ate too much mushrooms on an empty stomach. Too much. I start getting closer to her. And then I start noticing, am I flying? Like in my trip, I go, am I flying? I've never been this lucid before. And I looked around and I realized I was in the middle of the air. And I looked down below me and I could see myself on the beach like I was a drone looking down at myself. And I could see every fucking detail of the beach party from an aerial view. And I realized I am flying. And I swear to God, in the trip, I was like, fuck yeah. And then I just started flying. I literally, like Superman, that's how lucid I was. And I kept flying and I got closer to her. And when I got inside, closer to her, she was made of these globes. These transparent globes. And I wanted to know why she was shimmering. So when I got closer to the globes, inside the globes were these three-dimensional, shape-shifting geometric patterns that were gold and scarlet in color, what I can remember. And they were just shape-shifting. It was kind of like I was looking at every language of every intelligent civilization ever, spanning all across time, being shown to me. It was fascinating. And then I come back from that trip and I woke up and Sean was there and he looked at me. He's like, dude, you were gone for a minute. Where were you? And this is the only thing I said. I said, dude, I met the Mosquito Queen. That's what I called her, the Mosquito Queen. That was the only way I could describe her, that she was the Mosquito Queen. Now, mind you, after I came back from that trip, she gave me so much insight about my life. She told me that I should quit reality TV, that the only reason I was producing reality TV was because I liked the ego boost that I got from telling people that I was producing these popular shows. Like the last one was Swamp People on History Channel, which is a very popular show. And it was very fun to work on, mind you. But before that, I was doing comedy. Then I started working on reality TV and the money was really good and I liked it. And then all of a sudden I met the Mosquito Queen and she was like, bitch, go back to comedy. You're better at comedy than you are producing reality TV. She basically told me reality TV is going to get to a point where you're not going to get much work. Like I got all this information from her. Not only that, I had like 3 or 4 rental properties at the time. She literally told me, go back to Detroit for 1 year. Sell those properties, use those proceeds to buy other cheaper properties and increase your portfolio. These are things I probably have already kind of thought about, but after meeting her, she fucking punched me in the gut and told me straight the fuck up, this is what you're going to do with your life. Right after that trip, I came back from Bali. I told the guys at the reality show, this is my last show. I'm done. And I used to do improv. And then I started doing improv, trying to do it in LA. And I found out it's really hard to get other people to rely on. Because with improv, you need other people to do it. Because that's what I used to do. So while I was producing this reality show, I was like, look, if I can't rely on other people to do comedy with me, I might as well just go to an open mic by myself. And I went to an open mic by myself. And you know what I found out? I was better at stand-up than I ever was at improv. What the fuck? And I went to Detroit and I restructured my portfolio and I increased my homes from 4 to now I'm at 13, generating income for me, creating this time for me to be able to do what I want to do. So what the fuck happened in that mushroom trip? What in the fuck happened? What made me, was she real? I don't know, but I will tell you this. I want you guys to look at this shit before I let you go. I called her the Mosquito Queen, this beautiful feminine energy in the sky that changed my entire life. And I had to take so much mushrooms to meet her. 2 years goes by after this trip. I'm now doing comedy. I now restructured my real estate portfolio. I decided to go online to look up ayahuasca, which is another type of psychedelic. Just wanted to know about it. Went on reddit.com. I found an what they call an AMA. If you don't know what an AMA is, it's a ask me anything. That means some people will post a question and then you can ask them anything. And the one that I found was, I had my first ayahuasca trip. Ask me anything. I click on it. The comment that was voted to the top was, did you see her? What? I got goosebumps. All the hair in my body stood up, especially my back hair. Stood the fuck up. It was so creepy. I met the Mosquito Queen 2 years before this. Didn't know what she was. Got so much insight from her on what I should do with my life. 2 years later, do a Reddit search about ayahuasca. The comment that's voted to the top, did you see her? I was like, what the fuck is this shit? They called her Mother Ayahuasca. And I did an image search because I really wanted to know, who is Mother Ayahuasca? Why is everyone seeing her? And you know what trips me out? I'm going to share the screen. Every artist rendition is a picture of a woman in the stars, in nature, her face embedded in nature. Look at this one. This is the closest thing that I saw in the sky. This woman's face in the sky, in the stars. Look at the wings jutting out of her head. It's kind of like why I called her a Mosquito Queen. Then there's this one here. There's another artist rendition that kind of looks the same. Very, very interesting. And then this one here I found, which look at the face, how it kind of looks like a mosquito or some type of a bug. She will morph from this bug face to this, is what I remember. So, what the fuck did I see? I don't know. All I know is it fucking changed my life. It really fucking did. People make fun of mushrooms or drugs or whatever. I think natural drugs is where it's at. You know what I call mushrooms right now? God's flash drive. There's so much information in those fucking things. And ever since then, I've been trying to meet her again. I went back to Bali years later, about 2 or 3 years later, tried to blast off and meet her, and might be only a once in a lifetime thing. But what's fascinating to me is that people reach that level where they meet her and she bestows a blueprint to you on what you should probably do with your life. Why is everybody seeing her? Is she real? Or is it just our brains are all wired the same way, so we hallucinate the same thing? Or she's the programmer. Here's another thing. I talked to a Muslim guy who was really into Islam. Was really into Islam. I told him this story. And you know what he told me? He goes, Allah in Islam is actually feminine. And I did some research, and it's actually pretty true. There's a debate that Allah is not male or female. That's how Islam really looks at it. But there's some historical context which points to the initial feeling or the initial idea when it came to Allah, which is just the Arabic word for God, is that Allah comes from a feminine root. It comes from a, I mean, we're supposed to think that God doesn't have a gender in Islam. But take mushrooms and you let me know. You know? Why is it a feminine energy? That's what drives me insane, because I would think there would be no gender to that energy out there. Or maybe it's because we're human beings and we are wired to associate nurturing and love with femininity, right? Whereas like the male energy that we perceive is more warlike, defense, aggression, strength. As men get older, right, we become more compassionate. Why? Because, we end up losing testosterone, right? I don't know. Maybe God is a woman. Oh, here's another thing. She had a lot of titties. I hate saying this because then there's this that throws the whole story out. Bro, she had a lot of titties. Blah, 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 blah. She had a rack of titties. Like, more than one. Like, it was like she was like an insect. You know how like an insect exoskeleton kind of has those like ridges? It was like I was tripping out that in each one of those ridges of her insect body were just titties. Now, that right there lends me to believe that maybe what we're seeing when we're tripping is more about how we're wired than what is out there. Or the programmer is a woman. That might be it. I'm okay with that, especially if those titties are real. All right, guys, this podcast went a lot longer than I expected. I hope you learned something. I hope you guys realize that we are getting our fucking minds fucked. Sometimes you might have to take mushrooms to see a different vantage point, to see how you're being fucked. Bill Hicks. Oh my God. Fuck. I should end on Bill Hicks. Hold on. Guys, hold the fuck on. Bill Hicks, Gifts of Forgiveness. This is one of my favorite Bill Hicks bits, where he talks about mushrooms and he's advocating for why these things should be good. And I think this is a perfect way to end this podcast. I hope you guys enjoy it. I love you guys. You guys are fucking awesome. I appreciate you guys listening in. Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Pacific time. I might change it to a different time if it's more convenient for people. Follow me on Apple Podcasts. Follow me on Spotify. I'm on Spotify. I'm now listed on all the directories. Find me wherever you like to get your podcasts. Public Yemeni #1. I'm going to be dumping all of the audio so far because it's supposed to be able to push me to the top of the list. So now you'll be able to listen to just the audio that I'll start putting up after the podcasts. So please follow me on there, guys. I try to have a guest every week. I also go live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. And in the spirit of mushrooms, and in the spirit of knowledge, and in the spirit of getting you to stop looking at the world the way the media wants us to expand your fucking mind, to meet the fucking mosquito queen, I give you one of the comedians that has really influenced me, Mr. Bill Hicks.
But I've always found religion to be fascinating. Ideas such as how people act on their beliefs. Pro-lifers murdering doctors. Pro-lifers murdering people. It's irony on the base level, but I like it. You know what I mean? It's real basic irony, but still, you can get a hoot. It's a hoot. It's a fucking hoot. You're pro-life and we'll kill your ass. That's what fundamentalism breeds, though. No irony, you see. They take the word literally, you know. Fundamentalists, yeah. Well, once again, I recommend a healthy dose of psilocybin mushrooms. 3 weeks ago, 2 of my friends and I went to a ranch in Fredericksburg, Texas, and took what Terrence McKenna calls a heroic dose. 5 dried grams let me tell you, our third eye was squeegeed quite cleanly. Wow. And I'm glad they're against the law. Because you know what happened when I took them? I laid in a field of green grass for 4 hours going, my God, I love everything. The heavens parted, God looked down and rained gifts of forgiveness onto my being, healing me on every level, psychically, physically, emotionally. And I realized our true nature is spirit, not body, that we are eternal beings, and God's love is unconditional, and there's nothing we can ever do to change that. It is only our illusion that we are separate from God or that we are alone. In fact, the reality is we are one with God, and He loves us. Now, if that isn't a hazard to this country, you see my point. How are we going to keep building nuclear weapons? You know what I mean? What's going to happen to the arms industry when we realize we're all one? It's going to fuck up the economy. The economy that's fake anyway. Which would be a real bummer, you know. You can see why the government's cracking down on the idea of experiencing unconditional love. It's interesting. Isn't it interesting that 2 drugs that are legal, alcohol and cigarettes, 2 drugs that do absolutely nothing for you whatsoever, and drugs that grow naturally upon this planet, drugs that open your eyes up to make you realize how you're being fucked every day of your life, those drugs are against the law. Wow. Coincidence? I don't know. I'm sure their motives are pure, but
Public Yemeni #1.